chilling. So, I'm running around my girlfriend earlier, right? And I've been trying to find like something to kind of jump back on the YouTube arena thing, and I ain't really been on it like that. But you know, I still like making YouTube videos. It's not like I don't care about it. It's just nothing's really jogged me enough to talk. You know what I mean? And when she asked me that question, she's like, well, how do you get to a place where you don't give a fuck about nothing? And I had to really, really sit on that, you know, that subject. And I think it's a couple of answers. I would say the first thing that comes to my mind right off the bat is that life is going to happen regardless of whatever the fuck you feel like it, however the fuck you feel like it. I'm telling you, like, there have been times I've been upset with things. There's been times where I've been hurt, bothered, crushed by things that have bothered me. And life is going to keep happening regardless of how the fuck you feel about it. And it's just like, you know, after going through it for 32 years, I kind of had, you know, developed this perspective where it's like, why should I even give a fuck about it if it's going to keep happening? Like, I've lost things to me that were so precious, and it didn't matter to me how much I wanted it to work or how much I didn't want to lose whatever I lost. I still lost it anyway. And after a while, I was like, man, this shit just going to keep happening regardless of however the fuck I feel about it. And after a while, it kind of put me in this headspace where it's like, I got to kind of disconnect from some of this shit for my own sanity. Because I found myself in places where it's like I was really trying to give a fuck about stuff. Like, and I mean trying to give a fuck about it to the point where it was destroying me as a person. And the shit just, it didn't matter. Like, that and people, especially people. Because one thing about people, it don't matter how much you plead, cry, complain to someone, you know, if they feel like they're hurting you, a motherfucker's gonna do what's in their own fucking self-interest. Like regardless, like a motherfucker will hurt you and, you know, they'll feel some sympathy, but they won't feel a lot of sympathy about it. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm really bad about redistributing energy, because when people do me a certain kind of way, I just feel like it's my obligation to do it back to you, because you're not gonna understand where I'm coming from unless you wear it yourself. Like, that's something that I had got real bad with. You know, let's see. I'd say second, I refuse to be unhappy. What I mean by refuse to be unhappy, like, I get that there are certain, like, things you have to do to get to a certain point for things to work. You know, that's a means to an end. But just putting up with some shit that's just straight bullshit for the sake of someone else to be happy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't see the need or the point of that. Like, because the other person, a lot of times, and I'm not saying that aren't people that are not empathetic enough to understand where you're coming from. I just feel like no one really deeply cares the same way you care. Like, okay, if my homeboy wreck his car, you know what I'm saying? I care about him wrecking his car, but it's not my car, so I'm not going to care about it the same way as if I fucked it up. And I take my happiness the same way. You know, I refuse to let something really get me down, because I used to be, you know, moody as fuck about certain shit. And I would say that's like the third one I can think of. Like, I used to be a motherfucker that was like, man, my mood would swing so bad when I was younger. Like, and I think a lot of it had to do with me being on deployment. Like, me being stuck on a tin can in the middle of the ocean really affected my mental space. Because, you know, someone would say something to me, and I was already worn thin from deployment and just the shit that I was going through at the time. And it would just fuck my entire day up. I'm telling you, like, I could be in a great mood. A motherfucker could say some shit that I didn't like, and it would just, I wouldn't speak for the rest of the day. Like, it would just drain me. But again, I think that was, you know, me being affected by where I was at the time, how heavy things were, you know, me being on deployment and all of that. Like, it took the fucking life out of me just to talk sometimes. Now I just don't like to talk because I'm just kind of an ass. But I remember being, you know, that depressed to the point where I had thoughts of killing myself at one point. Like, especially on my first deployment, dog. I was going through so much shit on my first deployment. I remember being AF lookout, man. And, Anybody in the Navy that, that wasn't military at the time could attest to this shit. I remember just staring out in the water and I was like, man, what the fuck would happen if I just jumped off this motherfucker? Like, shit was that hard at the time. Like, but looking back in retrospect, knowing what I know now, I think a lot of those things I took way too personally. Like, people was doing shit and people would do shit and I would take that shit on like it was some shit they did to affect me personally. And now I'm at an age where I just don't be giving a shit about what a motherfucker does because I know it ain't got nothing to do with me. Like, even if you think that you're trying to hurt me, I just be like, you know what, I'm not finna even give a shit about it. Which leads me to my fourth reason. And my fourth reason is gonna be a bit petty, but it's one of my favorite ones. I know motherfuckers ain't finna fight me for real. And this was something that took me a long time to wrap my mind around. Like, I'm not saying I'm intimidating, but what would happen a lot is people would start shit, say shit, do little slick shit to try to get me out of my, like, some people get off on getting you off your square. Like, when I learned that, like, that was a thing to where it's like, I'm not gonna let someone just make me angry just because a part of me when I was younger, I liked being angry because it felt good to blow off that amount of steam. Like, to just get that shit all off at once, to just be like, fuck this shit, we can go at it. But I've gotten older, so it's like, you know what? I can't be allowing motherfuckers to just make me mad because of some shit they said on the internet. Like, I'm not finna be getting pissed off because I caught myself in places where I'm like, look, drop your address. I'll come to where you at. I'm pulling up this, that, the third. Like, I'm doing way too much dumb shit to try to prove a point to a motherfucker that, like, trying to prove shit to a motherfucker that don't really give a shit. Like, motherfuckers be doing shit strictly just to get a rise out of you because their life is fucked up. So it's like it makes them feel better about kicking you. Like, you can tell when you're around someone that gives a fuck about you for real because they try to uplift you and bring you to a better headspace. Like, winners like to be around winners, and if you're around a person that's like a winner, a motherfucker that wants something out of life, they're gonna try to bring you to their side of like the coin and be like, hey, let's go do something positive, let's go do some other shit. You know what I mean? And that was an environment that I left behind a lot of people, and I didn't realize how immersed I was in that shit in Southeast Georgia, or just in general. Like, I was allowing myself to be around people that was just on negative bullshit, and it's just like, I let a lot of that, like, drive me to where the fuck I was going and the shit that I was entertaining and what I was doing with myself. Fifth, I would say this one was one that I've developed over time. I've learned to be very confident in myself. I personally believe there's not anything that I can't do if I really just feel like it. I have a habit of being a bit of a lazy ass. Like, I'll lay on the couch all damn day and just chill and all the other shit. But if it was something I really was driven to do, if it's something I really have a passion behind, like, talking shit was something I was really good at for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, it just felt good to cuss the motherfucker out. But I've learned in my years that I'm a much better person when I, exude my confidence. And I think that helps, like, make everybody else around you more, how can I say it? It makes the people around you feel better when you're confident. Because they can kind of lean on your confidence a little bit. Because being not confident is kind of a stressful thing in a way. Like, those are things that I've just learned from just living life, like, that a lot of this shit that everybody be doing, like, the shit that people be saying on the internet, like, I've learned to not stick my nose in those type of arguments anymore. Like, no one's really talking from an intelligent place. Meaning, like, I might give an opinion, and I might be wrong about said opinion, even though I feel strongly about it. But I'm at a place where my energy's healthy enough to be like, hey, you're wrong. Or we can have a dialogue about it. And, I'm willing to be, I'm open to being corrected on something if your information is strong enough. But a lot of motherfuckers that be in this place where they angry about shit, they just feel like whatever they're right about is just right, and fuck everything else they got and anyone else has to say to them. They're not open to no information, not, open to try to be talked to, whatever. It's just certain things come from growth. Let's see, what's another one? Oh, I know my future doesn't have to be my past. Now, I feel like personally I come from a fucked up ass past, and I know there's people out there with situations more fucked up than mine. But I've reached this place where I'm not even finna allow myself to be surrounded by really fucked up energy. And I know the people that I meet, like the people I meet now or have met, like currently, they treat me way better than the people I've known for most of my life. Like, it's a lot of you motherfuckers that will never see me again simply because your energy is fucked up. Like, you're not finna influence me to be a fucked up person because you're a fucked up person. Like, I refuse to play into that. Like, I'll be a snarky asshole and say some slick shit just to be funny. But to just be a fucked up person just for the sake of being fucked up, I don't want to be around nothing like that. Like, that type of shit is actually very infectious. Like, you don't need to be around nobody that thinks fucked up shit because they're going to be doing fucked up shit and bringing you into fucked up shit. Like, I don't want to be around nothing like that. Like, if we're not trying to put it this way, I'd rather be around somebody that's more richer than me, more fit than me, knows how to do stuff better than me, so I could probably take something and learn from it. Like, it's just, when you're around motherfuckers that want to grow and learn and do some different shit, your energy becomes completely different. Like, I just refuse to associate with it. I'm serious, man. I'm at a place in my life where it's just like, there's some family members that will never see me again. I'm serious, like, and it sounds really hateful. It sounds very foul. But a lot of times your family do you more fucked up than anybody. And I hate to be like that, but simply because, you know, just because we related that I'm supposed to just deal with your bullshit, like, no, it's not gonna rock like that. I just won't talk to you. I won't fuck with you. I just won't come around. It ain't gotta be me being hateful. I ain't gotta say nothing nasty toward you. But I just don't fuck with the shit that you own. And a lot of y'all in my family are on complete bullshit. Like, it's nothing personal. I don't dislike you. I don't want nothing to happen to you. I don't want to see you get hit by a car. I don't want to see you lose a limb. I don't want to see you fuck up your credit and anything like that. But as far as me and you talking, we'll never speak again. Because I refuse to associate with it. And I would guess to wrap this whole thing up, you know, I value myself too much. Value myself, and I value my self-respect. Like, I'm really big on respect. Like, I will fall out with anybody behind my respect. But that entwined with, like, valuing myself, like, I really, 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 really value myself. I think I can do anything. I really care about me. I really care about me. And I'm serious when it comes to respect thing. Like, if we not respecting each other, if it ain't no meeting of respect wherever the fuck I'm going, then I will never talk. I'm serious. Because I ain't got time to be getting out of character for nobody. I ain't got time to be, you know, feeling less of myself because you want to be a bitch ass motherfucker. Like, I don't feel that. And quite honestly, it's not my problem. Like, I don't have to give a shit about you feeling like I should talk to you because you want to be a dick. Like, I'm not doing it. Like, a motherfucker, I can take a joke, nigga. Like, but you just being like an asshole because your shit is fucked up. Like, listen, keep that bitch ass energy over there. Like, we'll never talk. Like, I'm serious. I'm at this place where I won't even halfway hardly go home because I know what type of motherfuckers I got to be around. Like, I love my mother and I love seeing certain family members, but it's just certain shit that, you know, that's done happened in my past. And, you know, my sister says I'm being petty by it, but listen, until I get an apology or the shit gets resolved, the shit gets squashed, and I know how motherfuckers from Georgia think. They think they're too big to say sorry. Like, cool. You feel that way, but we'll never see each other again. You can be whatever you feel like you need to be, but we'll never talk. You can feel like however you want to feel, but don't expect me to give a fuck. Like, I have no love in my heart for you. And that's not even me saying that from a hateful place. I just don't care about nothing that's like negative and hurtful toward Ronell right now. I don't fuck with it. But yeah, I felt like sharing that. You know, maybe it'll help somebody kind of get a grasp on whatever they're dealing with and, you know, help someone in their situation. Like, cause I'm at a place right now where I want to help people, you know, with my experience and the things I've been through. You know, I want to help and be a cool person. I want to be, you know, as much as I ain't crazy about people, I don't want to be a bad person, if that makes sense. But, you know, I just felt like sharing what I was on my mind. And I'm, you know, going to try to get back into the groove of YouTube.